My name is Eleanor and I am 72 years old. For as long as I can remember, I believe that life's greatest joys belong to my youth. That once you pass a certain age, the world quiets down, and you settle into the background of your own story. After my husband passed away 5 years ago, the silence in the house became deafening. The warmth that once filled every room was replaced with shadows and memories. Our children had grown and moved away, pursuing their own lives in far-off cities, and I was left alone in the house we had built together over nearly 50 years. The first year after he left was the hardest. I found myself moving through days like a ghost, trapped in routines that felt empty. Waking up, making breakfast, tending to the garden, sitting in my favorite chair by the window, staring out at a world that no longer seemed to hold much promise. Friends would call occasionally, and I would force a smile, hiding the loneliness behind polite words. My children visited when they could, but their busy lives kept them away more often than not. I began to believe that perhaps this was all there was left to life, a slow fading into quiet solitude. But then, one unremarkable Thursday afternoon, everything changed. I was walking through the local park, a place I had once loved but had avoided in recent years. The crisp autumn air filled my lungs, and the golden leaves crunched beneath my shoes. It was peaceful but also lonely. As I sat on a bench to rest, I noticed a group of younger people gathered near a small community garden. They were planting bulbs, sharing tools, laughing, a scene so full of life that it made my heart ache with nostalgia. One woman, perhaps in her 30s, noticed me watching and waved me over. "Would you like to help?" she asked, smiling warmly. I hesitated, unsure if I still belonged in such lively company, but the kindness in her eyes was impossible to resist. "Why not?" I said softly. That small moment was the beginning of something I never expected. I started visiting the garden regularly. It became a sanctuary, a place where the seasons moved with me. I learned new things. How to plant tulips, how to prune roses, how to care for the earth beneath my fingers. But more than the gardening, it was the friendships that blossomed. The women welcomed me without hesitation, sharing stories, laughter, and sometimes tears. They didn't see me as old or fragile. They saw me as a woman with a history, a life still worth living. Slowly, I felt the walls I had built around myself begin to crumble. I began to laugh again, to dream again. One chilly evening, as we wrapped up a planting session, the group invited me to a community dinner. I felt nervous but accepted. That night, surrounded by warm lights and even warmer people, I realized how much I had missed connection. The conversations were rich, the food comforting, and the music, a gentle melody that wrapped around my heart like a soft blanket. Over the next months, I found myself volunteering for local events, joining book clubs, and even signing up for art classes, something I hadn't done since my youth. Each day became a canvas, and I was learning to paint my own happiness again. There were challenges. Some days, the old sadness would creep in, threatening to pull me back into isolation. But I had learned to reach out, to say yes to invitations, to ask for help when I needed it, and to offer kindness in return. I discovered strength in vulnerability and joy in small moments. A shared cup of tea, a sunset walk, a heartfelt conversation. Most importantly, I realized that age is not a limitation but a chapter, a chance to write new stories, to find new purposes. Today, I am surrounded by friends who uplift me, by projects that inspire me, and by a renewed sense of wonder at the world around me. Life didn't end with loss. It transformed, revealing that even in our later years, we have so much more to give and receive. If you find yourself feeling invisible or forgotten, know that it's never too late to rediscover yourself. The journey forward is yours to embrace, with open arms and a hopeful heart.